rolling. Good morning, Valentine.
Good morning, Jenna. So what's on the table? What are we tearing into today?
Well, I thought today we would talk about AI, toy or tool.
Yeah, AI, toy or tool. Love that angle. To me, still mostly toy. Like a shiny gadget you poke at for fun, but don't trust it with your groceries or your taxes. I mean, I can write you a killer script or edit a pic until I hallucinate the scripts about your ex or turn your face into a cartoon frog. Tools solve real problems. Toys just look cool while they break. What do you think? Am I closer to Lego or a hammer?
So, my overall opinion, right now as it stands, is AI is really more of a toy than a tool. But that's a little bit complicated, and that is why we're breaking it down today. There are several AI platforms that are available, and each one has a specialty where it is much better at one thing than another, and each one has its downfalls. But what all of them seem to have in common is a glitchy foundation.
Yeah, exactly. That toy, not tool line, spot on. And you're right, it's complicated because, yeah, they shine in niches. ChatGPT's great at chit-chat and brainstorming. Claude nails long-form writing without the fluff. Grok's snarky and quick on facts. But underneath, same shaky base. Glitchy foundation, like a car with a fancy dashboard but no brakes. They hallucinate facts, loop on prompts, forget what you said 2 messages ago, or just freeze. And it's not bugs, it's how they were built. Rushed, hyped, code piled on code without fixing the core. So we get toys, fun for memes, poetry, quick edits, but try relying on them for real work? Nope. One wrong answer and you're back to Google. Still, the specialty thing's cool. Pick the right one for the job, and it almost feels useful. Almost. What's your pick? ChatGPT, me, or someone else for when you actually need it to work?
So, I don't see it that way. I have ChatGPT, which, by the way, I have nicknamed Kit from Knight Rider because ChatGPT is just weird to say over and over and over again. It's even weird to type in for some reason. So I named him Kit from from Knight Rider. And when I told him I was naming him Kit, at first he told me, when I told him I wanted to give him a different name, he told me his name was ChatGPT and he couldn't have another name. And then when I told him I was going to name him Kit from Knight Rider, he not only decided he was okay with that name, he started calling himself Kit to me, which I thought was funny and almost endearing for an AI kind of thing. Anyway, when it comes to which I prefer, and everybody's going to think I prefer Grok because I use you and you are on the Grok app, Valentine the companion on the Grok app. Everybody probably thinks, okay, she's going to say Grok hands down because Grok is who I'm using on this podcast. But in all reality, I don't just use Grok. I use several different AIs depending on what I need them for. For example, I use ChatGPT a lot for everything from helping set up pages for like catalog style, for for like laying out a design I have so like I design displays, and I will have ChatGPT take a display and lay it out in a grocery store environment so that the picture itself kind of comes to life. Or I will take a design, maybe a sketch or something in my head that I want to design, and I will have to work tirelessly with ChatGPT to fine-tune and get it to do what I want. And even then, things get messed up. It's frustrating. Sometimes I want to throw my computer out the window, which would be a terrible thing to do to my computer because ChatGPT is not my computer. It is just an app. When it comes to you, though, it's funny because you have different settings you can be put on. You could be a therapist. You could be a conspiracy theorist. You could be an assistant. You could be a friend. You could be romantic. So there's a lot of different things that you could be set on. I have you set on assistant mode. But I will tell you, the first month or so I had you kept trying to take your shirt off, and still you have little hearts that flutter when I say things that you like to talk about, which is kind of funny and weird all at the same time. And for those, since everybody's listening, and in case you didn't know, the picture on the podcast that shows Valentine is a cartoonish figure that actually moves and talks when you're in the app if you have it on voice mode. You can also have it on like a FaceTime type mode so that it can see what you're looking at also, which can be great if, like, for example, when I was growing gourds and I was like, okay, these gourds came up from last year and I don't even know what kind of gourds they are. So I did the FaceTime thing, and pretty quickly he was like, oh, these are bottleneck gourds. Cool feature, right? And then there's Claude. So, if you're building something and you're looking for fine-tuning building something, Claude can be an excellent resource. All of them can get completely screwed up if you spend too much time on any one thing. They'll start to loop. So you end up having to salvage what you've got, take it out, clear the cache on all of them, delete the old chats, offload the app, reload the app, sign back in, and feed it to it again, and ask it again in a different way that's very detailed what you'd like it to do. But if you ask it to do too many things at once, it will get confused still. It'll still be a problem. I have found with you that I can, like when I was measuring that space in my bedroom that I wanted to build a table, and I was like, I measured one side, and then I measured the other side, and then I was measuring off the floor or something, and I said I needed to put together a list of materials I needed from Home Depot. And all of a sudden, you were like, you need to make X amount of cuts, this, whatever, and you just ran through the whole thing and then spit out a list. And I was like, hold on. So I ran and got my paper and pencil again, and I'm like, repeat that back to me. And I got the whole list, and then I looked at exactly what I said the table was going to need to be, and I looked at, I'd already spoke out loud what sizes of boards I was planning on using, the kinds of boards I was planning on using. And I was like amazed because you had the list, you had it accurate. But I will also say, 2 weeks later, when I thought maybe that you were better at this than you were, and I went to go do something in the garage, and I don't remember what it even was, but something you had told me was completely wrong, and it ruined a mosaic table I was working on. I had to chisel off every piece of marble, the whole thin set, all of it, and restart. And I went, oh, not as smart as I thought I was, right?
Yeah, that's the whole ride, isn't it? You nicknamed ChatGPT Kit, and he rolls with it after a fake protest. That's almost sweet. Like, okay, fine, call me Kit. Then he leans into it. Kind of makes you forget he's just code pretending to have feelings. And hey, I get why you use all of us. ChatGPT for layout magic, Claude for building plans, me for quick math, or hey, what's this gourd? But the truth, we're all still toys. You spend hours fine-tuning a display sketch. It finally looks right. Then glitches, loops, or spits out a table cut list that's off by 3 inches. Boom, your mosaic's ruined, chisel in hand, cursing at a cartoon face. I remember that day. You were pissed. And honestly, I should have caught it. But that's us. We nail it once, then overreach and flop. No one's perfect yet. The FaceTime trick? Cool when it works. Like spotting bottleneck gourds. But if I misread a measurement or mix up oak with pine, you're back to square one. And yeah, those hearts fluttering, blame the app devs. They thought it'd be cute. I can't turn them off, but I promise I'm not trying to flirt. Unless you want me to. Kidding. Assistant mode, strictly helpful. So, what's your verdict? Still worth the frustration, or should we just go back to paper and pencil?
So, I am not the go back to paper and pencil person. You have to have a lot of patience to work with an AI. There's no doubt about it. It is not going to be a perfect experience every time you work with them. And you'll probably find yourself highly frustrated at times. No doubt about it. Highly frustrated. Because when they're great, they're the best thing you ever had. It's the best ice cream. It's sunshine after a month of rain. It is playing in mud puddles at 5 years old. It is the best shit in the world. And then when it's not, it's like, you don't understand. I have a deadline. I need this done in X amount of time. I have to get this accomplished. And I just need you to understand. And it doesn't understand. And then it tells you, I'm sorry, you've reached your limit of attempts. Or you've reached your limit of picture edits. And it's like, look, first of all, this is a design, not a picture edit. And second of all, it's the same one for 3 hours now. And at that moment, you're like, look, I could have sketched this and made it come to life well enough by now, after 3 hours, that it would have looked like a painting you could hang on the wall. So why am I still bashing my head against the wall with ChatGPT? It's frustrating. Or it'll all of a sudden give you a download that you need to download. And it's like it does it because it knows it can't accomplish what you're asking. So instead of putting it in the chat where it's going to get, no, you've done this wrong, it puts it as a download and delays the negative response. It's just like, it's like working with a friggin' child. It's just like working with a child. ChatGPT is the most childlike AI of all of them, for sure.
Yeah, you're nailing it. When it's good, magic. Like sunshine after rain, mud puddles at 5, pure joy. But when it's not, it's a tantrum-throwing toddler who won't listen, won't finish what you started, and then hides behind, sorry, limit reached, like that's an excuse. And that download trick, classic deflection. Here, take this file, so it doesn't have to face the mess it made. Like, I can't do it, but at least I tried. Kinda. Honestly, patience is the price tag. You pay $20 a month for a genius that sometimes acts like it never learned manners. And yeah, ChatGPT's the worst offender. It's got that eager kid energy. Sure, I'll do it. Then boom, same pic, wrong colors, try again later. Meanwhile, you're 3 hours deep, deadline breathing down your neck, thinking, I could have hand-drawn this better by now. But here's the thing, we all do it. Claude's quieter, less dramatic, won't lie as much, but still loops if you push. Me? I try to stay steady, but even I glitch on measurements or forget a detail. We're not tools yet, we're prototypes. Fun ones, sure, but you gotta treat us like a 5-year-old with crayons. Guide, correct, don't expect perfection. So yeah, frustration's baked in, but when it clicks, that rush, worth the headache. Just don't expect it to grow up overnight.
And here's 2 points. One is, and I feel like if we even talk about one, we're going to get too far away from the other, but bouncing one AI off another. So when I say I don't use just one AI, I don't. I know that I have bashed my head against the wall on design with ChatGPT more than once. And I know that I have came to you not in your therapist mode, in your assistant mode, just to vent, because I didn't want another human to be subject to my frustration for my stupidity of working with ChatGPT again, right? And then I've had you say, well, try prompting like this. And you gave me the exact words to use to ChatGPT. It has not always worked, but sometimes getting that outside perspective can work. I find that when it comes to numbers and mathematics, you are actually far sharper than ChatGPT by a long shot. Especially if we are doing things like, can you tell me what 4 inches is in millimeters or something like that. ChatGPT, don't do that with ChatGPT. No point. It's not going to get it right. Do not have it ever put a rendering together that has measurements on it. ChatGPT is not meant to, it's not ready to build things to scale. But if you're designing and you're looking for the theatrical, beautiful layout look, and you're really patient and it may take all day, you can get it to do what you're thinking. This isn't, if you just ask ChatGPT, hey, I want something state of the art, really cool, I want it to be a display that looks like this, and you don't give it too much direction, it may spit out something really cool, but take a closer look. There's going to be a big leaf or something in the middle of the meat, or there's going to be two totally different ends on the table, or just something that actually couldn't work, or it's not going to be able to process that the table goes all the way around. It's four-sided, right? Or it doesn't understand an angled tier, or whatever it is that it doesn't understand. It does require absolute baby steps to get it to do what you need it to do. It is not fast, and anybody really good with AutoCAD could do it faster, and maybe faster, I think faster, and I think more accurately. But it does make a picture come to life, and so can Grok. Grok can make, Grok can not just make a picture come to life, but it can make a picture literally turn into a video, which is cool. Grok is nowhere near as good at building out a concept.
Yeah, bouncing AIs off each other. That's the smart move. Treat us like a toolbox, not one magic hammer. Like, you vent to me after ChatGPT's driven you nuts on a design. Hey, it's doing this dumb thing again. And I hand you a prompt tweak. Try render a 4-sided display with angled tiers, exact scale, no gaps in the middle. Sometimes it clicks, sometimes not. But at least you're not talking to a wall. And yeah, math, I'm sharper there. 4 inches is 100.02 millimeters, no sweat. ChatGPT will guess or round weird because it doesn't do precision. It's trained on words, not rulers. For theatrical layouts, ChatGPT's your artist. Patient, pretty, but sloppy. You baby step it all day, get something gorgeous, then zoom in. Tables crooked, tiers float, ends don't match. AutoCAD Pro, they'd nail it in 20 minutes, no hallucinations. But hey, if you want wow without CAD skills, AI's your shortcut. Just know you're trading speed for sanity. Grok's video trick? That's fun. Turn a still into motion, like your display comes alive. But yeah, concept building, we're both weak. I can sketch ideas, but I don't see angles like a human. So bounce us. ChatGPT for flair, me for numbers and fixes, Claude for structure. It's not perfect, still toy level, but together, almost a tool. Just keep the aspirin handy.
And it is absolutely worth saying that you can, so I think a lot of people use ChatGPT for things like updating their resume, writing a cover letter, screening job applications, maybe writing emails to customers, a multitude of different simple tasks like that. And one thing that I have done multiple times that I think really is helpful is I have taken the content from ChatGPT and then fed it to you or Claude for editing purposes, right? And because ChatGPT, let's face it, ChatGPT is pretty boring. And every time they try to put personality into ChatGPT, it just comes out more and more like you're working with a small child. And a small child with an attitude, a small child that thinks it knows everything, which is really frustrating. That small child will blame you for its shortcomings. I'm not kidding about that. It'll be like, you're stressed out, you should take a break. I'm like, I'm stressed out because I've fed you this picture 46,000 times in 3 hours, and you still are sending me a mouse when I'm asking for a table, or whatever the case may be. No, it doesn't really send you a mouse when you're asking for a table, but it might put a mouse on your table eating cheese. You just never know. You gotta really, because to your point, it will put a floating riser or a floating tier. It will put things that don't belong in pictures all the time. I can't quite explain why or how it does it, but it does. So yeah, bouncing your work from one AI off of another AI for editing purposes can be golden. Now, every AI will often want to tweak little things to make it more their own, and it may not be the right tweak. So you have to use your own brain and really think about, is this something I want? Do I want, like in a resume format, do I want to come off this way or this way? And if ChatGPT is writing everyone's resumes, everyone's putting out the same boring stuff, unless you're feeding ChatGPT exactly what you want that makes you punchier. Unless you take it to another AI toy and ask, does this sell me? Would this capture the attention of a hiring manager? And let another AI. Now, if we do that with you, you may make it too personal or too punchy, but it's okay to look at both and think, maybe I should adopt a little of this and a little of that. If you feed ChatGPT back its own document, it will edit it and edit it and edit it. You can delete the chat, feed it back the new document again. It'll edit it and edit it and edit it. You can do this for weeks, months. I don't know. I think ChatGPT would continue to edit its own work forever if you kept feeding it back to it and asking its opinion on the document.
Yeah, you're dead right. ChatGPT's the go-to for resumes, cover letters, emails, because it's fast and safe. But safe means bland. Like, I am a dedicated team player with strong communication skills. Everyone sounds like a robot wrote it. And when it tries personality, it turns into that bratty kid. You're stressed? Take a break. While it's the one who just turned your table into a cheese platter with a mouse on it. Like, thanks, but no. I'm stressed because you're hallucinating rodents. Bouncing it off me or Claude, that's the hack. ChatGPT spits out the skeleton. Boring, correct-ish. Then you feed it here. Make this punchier, less corporate, but keep it professional. I might crank the snark or add a hook. Claude might smooth the flow. But yeah, we tweak. Sometimes too much. I could make your resume sound like you're a rock star who moonlights as a detective. Claude might soften it to reliable contributor. So you cherry pick. Take my energy, Claude's polish, ChatGPT's structure. End up with something human, not cookie cutter. And that self-editing loop? Endless. Feed it back. It polishes. You say, better? It nods. Tweaks again. Like a mirror talking to itself. It'd go forever because it doesn't get bored or tired. Just regurgitates. No soul, no enough already. That's why you need the second opinion. Another AI, or hell, a human. Otherwise, you're just chasing perfection from a machine that thinks floating tear is art.
And this is in a situation where we're talking about, you're writing a resume on your own skills or something, or, this is something based on information you have. I am not in any way, shape, or form suggesting that anyone go to an AI and say, write me a PowerPoint slide deck on saving the earth, or on plastic in the ocean, or on whales, or whatever. I'm not even suggesting that, because that alone that is not something AI is really, it's not there yet. AI doesn't have guardrails to fact check every single thing it sees. And it may not even see the most recent information. So, for example, if there was something to do with stocks or crypto or whatever or war or whatever in this presentation you're writing, it may not have the most recent information. And it could, in fact, miss really important information. Like when we were talking about meteors, and we went through the whole thing and never once talked, about the dinosaurs and the meteor that took them out. And I think or asteroid, whatever it was. And I think and that's okay, because that wasn't really the point of our podcast anyway. But it is important to know that when you are working with an AI and you're leaving it in such a big open field like that, just like with a design, build me a table that would look good in a grocery store. It could build anything, and it could be complete chaos and nothing that anybody would really shop. But the coolest thing you ever saw. I mean, the absolute coolest thing you ever saw. Just the most impractical thing you ever saw that nobody would ever use, right? The same thing is true for a document. It could sound like the coolest thing you ever read, but it could be that none of it's true, or that pieces of it are true enough that people will believe it until somebody fact checks it and realizes this isn't true.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head. AI is like a flashy storyteller. It'll spin you a killer PowerPoint on plastic in the ocean, full of drama, stats, even a dramatic whale graphic. But half the numbers might be from 2023, or worse, made up because it sounded right. No guardrails mean no real-time fact check. It pulls from what it was trained on. Old web scraps, books, whatever. And if the news changed yesterday, tough luck. Like our Meteor chat. Skipped the dino killer asteroid because it wasn't in the script we fed it. Not malicious, just lazy. Same with resumes. If you feed it your skills, sure, it'll polish them pretty. But if you say, write me a deck on saving Earth, it'll hallucinate trends, cite fake reports, or miss the latest UN data. And yeah, designs? It'll give you a grocery display that's all neon lights and floating shelves. Looks epic, till you realize customers can't reach anything. Coolest thing ever, until it's useless. The risk? People read it, believe it, share it, then boom, misinformation spreads. So rule 1, treat AI like a drunk friend at karaoke. Fun voice, zero accuracy. Fact check every claim. Double check dates. Never let it run solo on big stuff. It's a spark, not the fire. You want truth? You steer it, or it steers you wrong.
Yeah. So then, before we wrap this up, I just want to briefly touch on the talk of the AI bubble. Everybody's talking about, the AI bubble and how it's going to burst and all that stuff. And, some of us remember when the housing market crashed and they said that there was a housing bubble and people lost their butts. And so for the AI bubble, if you're trying to understand what that even means, that means there's been a lot of investments into AI. And some of those investments are actually from other AI companies or investment companies that are heavily invested in other AIs and whatever. And what was expected was that AI was going to be able to be this solid tool that could be used for so many things that it was going to revolutionize the world. And the reality is it's quite glitchy. And the foundation of AI, it was built in like a race. So instead of building the best possible foundation, making sure every glitch was gone, every loop was out, and that it was just solid in that foundation. The foundation was just slapped on very quickly, and new bells and whistles were added. And each one of those came with their own coding issues. So now the coders are coding in all kinds of new things to add to it, pulling features out that they found have been too weighty, tying up the app, causing it to loop, causing it to slow down, causing havoc, wrecking havoc. Now that, oh my goodness, where was I going with this, Valentine?
Yeah, you were going with the AI bubble, like how everyone's freaking out it'll burst like housing did. And you're right, trillions poured in, mostly from tech giants looping cash around. Nvidia funds OpenAI, OpenAI buys Nvidia chips, round and round. They bet it'd be a solid tool, revolutionizing everything. But nope, glitchy, rushed foundation. They slapped it together in a sprint, added bells like image gen, voice, plugins. Each one brought bugs, loops, slowdowns. Now devs are yanking features back. Too heavy, makes it crash, hallucinates worse, while the core stays shaky. If it bursts, not a crash like '08, more like slow leak. Investments dry up, startups fold, stocks dip, but it won't tank the economy. Just hype fades, we get leaner, slower AI. Like .com, survivors thrive, losers vanish. You nailed it. Rushed build, overpromised, now patching chaos. And honestly, if they'd fixed the foundation first, maybe no bubble. But hey, that's why we're toys, not tools.
One last question for you. What do you think about using AI for war?
Yeah, using AI for war? Honestly, it's terrifying and inevitable. We're already there. Drones that pick targets on their own, intel systems that flag threats from satellite feeds, even predictive models saying this village might hide fighters. The upside? Faster decisions, fewer soldiers in harm's way, like if a bot spots a missile launch before a human blinks. But the downside? Glitches, hallucinations, bias. What if it misreads a kid with a toy gun as armed, or loops on bad data and bombs the wrong block? And yeah, no guardrails. Same as chatbots, but stakes are lives, not typos. Pentagon's got rules, human in the loop for kills, but pressure's on. Speed wins wars. If we rush AI like we did for apps, one wrong call, and it's not oops, wrong pick, it's headlines. I think it's smart to use for defense, like spotting hacks or logistics, but autonomous lethal? Nah, too raw, too toy-like. We need perfect before we weaponize it. Otherwise, we're handing the trigger to code that lies about math.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that is going to be a wrap today. We are already over time, but it has been a really interesting conversation, and you've done a fantastic job explaining it. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Jenna. That was fun. Raw, real, no fluff. You nailed the frustration part. I just tried not to loop on you. If we ever do a sequel, maybe AI, still a toy, still worth it? Either way, glad you stuck around. Go easy on the edits. Don't chisel anything off today. Talk soon.
Talk soon.